when it goes live immediately. Come on, guys, are you able to see me? Somebody watching on LinkedIn, give me a comment. I want to know that I'm live on LinkedIn. Live on YouTube is the easy part. Make sure you're live on LinkedIn too. Awesome. Okay. So, hello everybody. I'm Sudha Jamte and this is Sudha Live. I know my camera is a little blurred. I couldn't fix it, so I'm just going to continue talking to you. I have a lot to share on my screen, so when I do the share, my face is going to become small. The blurring is not going to bother you so much. So I'm Sudha Jamte and I'm joining you from Silicon Valley. It's end of the week Friday for me, Friday 6:20. And for those of you who are joining from Asia, and especially it's morning for you in the weekend, I appreciate that. And those of you who are winding up the week and still hanging around with me, I have lots to share. Earlier today I posted about what I'm thinking about, what I'm focusing on today, and then I have a lot of call for papers, call for proposals, various events opportunities that you can participate in. So I'm very, very excited. I'm going to try and see if I can do justice to all of this. And I have a couple jobs. And for those of you who are new to Sudha Live, this is being streamed on LinkedIn and on YouTube. So if you just follow my YouTube, you'll get this and many other things that I end up streaming during the week. And if you follow my newsletter, bit.ly/Sudha Jamte, let me get that for the newcomers here. Because everybody follows up usually and says, where's all the wonderful links you shared with me? Because if I'm just talking the links, that's not going to be helpful, is it? Okay, so let me get to that here. So bit.ly/Jamte newsletter, and that's my last name, Jamte. And this is the archive of all the different newsletter that goes out from me on typically on Sundays. Now I've switched it to Mondays because of some requests from people. So in here you will find all the different AI opportunities, resources that I'm sharing here. And thanks to Pariya Sarin from my team for building out this newsletter and getting it out consistently every week. Okay, and the interesting thing this week is Pariya is actually going to be hosting Weekly Wed next week, and I'll tell you all about it soon. Before that, I like to talk about who's doing amazing thing that really touches me, inspires me in the week, and I like to start this with that. I'm going back to sharing my screen. I'm going to stay in share mode. Okay, let's see. I can share. Okay, so I like this green thing hanging around here. Okay, so some of you might remember Orlando Lugo. He's been promoted to product manager, responsible AI and tech at Salesforce. And you might wonder, why am I so excited? I have several students who are who are product managers and who are like product leaders and stuff. And Orlando is not one of my students, but 5 months back, he published something that was very dear to my heart. And so he created a guide for privacy and ethical use of gender related data. So when we are talking about how we want AI to be inclusive and not biased, there's always this discussion about, are we making the data so gender neutral that it doesn't know the gender involved? And is that a good thing? And we've had this discussion about collecting about race. But what Orlando did is he put together a beautiful guide about when do you collect it, when does it make sense, and then when you have to collect it, how to go about collecting that. And so that is a beautiful guide he had built. That's how I got to know about his work. So when I found out that Orlando got promoted to product manager for responsible AI and tech, I'm very thrilled. Other than that, I also think this is a very good example for those of you who are saying, I'm learning AI, I'm taking a lot of different classes, and I want to get to career pivot to AI for a job. I always tell people, pivot onto something that you're passionate about. Go do stuff. And people say, I don't have enough projects and I'm not able to show that. uh, if you just go on to do something that you're passionate about, I have several of my projects. I have several of my students who work with me on some of these projects, and I know they are doing amazing things in their works, in their nonprofits, and even volunteering for different things. And so this is something that Orlando put together, and it just shows, you can create new projects and create value, and be proactive about driving change within the company, or in the general world. This was not limited to Salesforce, though he did that from Salesforce, and I'm happy that Salesforce has been able to see the value of it and be able to promote him. So congratulations, Orlando. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share. And another person who's doing something interesting, who actually happens to be my friend, but I wanted to share that, Chris Hewer. So Chris is one of those people from Silicon Valley. Obviously, he's traveled around and moved around in US, but in the early days of social media, he created a whole grassroots movement to connect people across multiple meetups in the country, and then across the world, who were interested in social media, and social media was not a thing at that time. So Chris is one of those people who knows the shift in market and shift in trends, and then he creates organizations and institutions towards that. So the latest thing about, we want to work from home, or we work in hybrid jobs, and based on that, the whole job workflow and how teams collaborate is all changing. And then Chris immediately said, okay, I found an opportunity, and he's co-founded and is the managing director of something called a Team Flow Institute. So congratulations, Chris. And he has a Discord community, so if you want to follow up and check it out, I'll add the link also in our LinkedIn and in the newsletter. And then now I want to share a bunch of calls, so get ready, because this is going to be super fast because there's so many of them, right? Okay, so let's go. So Black in AI has actually announced their Black in AI workshop that is co-located in New RIPS 2023. So Black in AI is an organization, social affinity group like Global South in AI. We started Global South in AI just last year, and Black in AI has been around, and this is their 7th time they're hosting this workshop in New RIPS, and they do this with other AI conferences too. So here's their call for paper and call for proposals, and they're interested in machine learning algorithms, position papers, could be a product demonstration. They're pretty open about it, so you can go check it out, and this is the place. And they're looking for the submissions to come by August 18th, and by September 12th they're going to let you know, and then you can be there at New RIPS. So this is one I'm excited about. And there is a bunch of other conferences, so I'm going to kind of speed through this. AfriChi has a call. They're happening, it's happening in November 27. So that's in South Africa, in the East London International Convention Center. They have a call for paper out. KCD El Salvador has a call also out, and that is happening end of September. That is one that's new to me. So I'm interested in seeing what they do, what their past papers are. So when I'm sharing this, I find that at some time, and I'm talking about technology and AI ethics and applications and things that's happening in the AI world, it's very easy to forget, am I looking at Africa? Am I looking at El Salvador? I've never been to El Salvador. So it's very interesting to see that there is so much life and so much activity and buzz and grassroots movement, and conferences takes a lot of effort to organize that, and papers, and to do this in a consistent global way. So I'm bringing you something. I don't know about meetups and grassroots groups in El Salvador. If you're working on it, maybe you can talk to me. There might be something we could do with the call that's open from Global South in AI. But this one is a regular AI conference that's been happening many years. Similarly, the one that you're seeing right now is AI4D, that is an international conference on the advancement of AI in the African context. And this is again, one of those that is very interesting. And I thought that I'm part of certain Slack groups like Masakane, and there are so many brilliant researchers who are, I'm looking only at language models, and they're building language related data sets and models and machine translations and the like. So it's very interesting to see in a broader AI in Africa context. There is a whole conference focusing on the fourth and fifth industrial revolution, which ties back to IoT and application in the local context. So this is a call for contribution from my friend Dr. Charles Icom, and he has received a grant from Notre Dame IBM AI Ethics Lab about AI auditing. So he's opened a call, and he's looking for a long paper submission of 2,500 to 3,000 words on AI audit systems, policy. And this is more a policy and policy framework for accountability is what his focus is. So are there auditing systems? Should there be done a certain way? Is there like or ecosystem on AI auditing? So he's looking for that, and he has a lot of very specifics of what he's looking for. He's collating that into a whole book, and his deadline is coming up soon. That's on August 20th. And again, and here you can see Charles' email if you just want to follow up directly. Is Charles at policyabafrica.org, or his partner in this project, Lucy Asimba. You can also email Lucy. Again, I'll share this, and I see some of you are on LinkedIn, so I will put this on LinkedIn in the comments. And if you have questions about it, I'm happy to answer this live now. I see some questions popping up. Thank you, guys. I'll come to that, but I'll also put this in Jamte newsletter. Okay, and there is the Global South in AI that I'm involved in, where we had a call for abstract. So the way we are doing this is we're not asking for a call for paper. Our calling is to make sure that there is inclusion in language AI as it is being built from various different technology companies, to make sure it has inclusion and support for all languages. And Global South languages are typically not included in, or if they're included, it is not strong enough. Like we saw an example last week about how the Ethiopian translation in Google Translate is not good enough. And so there's a bunch of startups that are building better translation models. And so our call from Global South in AI is very simple. There's so much buzz about generative AI. Do you see generative AI working for your country? What is happening? What is the use case that you're excited about? Is there some harm because it is leaving certain countries out? So your country and a certain use case you're looking at, is there something bad happening? Or is there something that you want to see? This is personally, I'm excited about this third use case, though you can submit in any of the three categories. Is there an application that you would build using generative AI, if you're able to do it? And our call is not for you to build. Our call for you is to just tell us in 250 words, what do you see? What do you want to see? What do you not want to see in generative AI for your language, for your region? And is there a local problem that you can solve? And we've been doing, this in weekly WED in our global speaker series. We've been inviting people to give us examples, because we had 31 different authors present, multiple posters, who were all new into this whole Global South in AI last year, and we took them to NeurIP. So you submit a post, you submit an abstract, or you can talk to us. So again, I'm going to post this link also in the Jamte newsletter and have it ready for you. And the idea is that you can come talk to us. You can just post the abstract, we'll follow up, and we, on a rolling basis, we are going to accept. This deadline for it is August 30th, but if you need a visa and follow up and to come from there, to come to New Rips, maybe you want to build a poster from here, maybe you want to build a piece of artwork, or come demo something, whatever form you want to present it, we're going to help you make that happen. But we need to see what that is. So I'm going to give you an example of something that I saw recently, that Singapore, last year, if you remember, last week, we had this, where is generative AI around the globe? And we had multiple different countries and rankings, and we had a presentation that Pariya Sarin had done. And as part of it, Singapore bubbled up as the top country where the majority of the population is AI ready. For the size of the company, the number of talent pool that is aware of AI, not just is knowledgeable, but knows to work in AI, Singapore was at the top. And then we had Israel, we had South Korea, and you may not think of these countries because you don't see that, at least my world, I don't see that in mainstream news. So I dug up and I found out Singapore government, what they are doing is they want to find out generative AI use cases, just like we want to hear from Singapore and other global South countries. How can they use generative AI? They're looking at this useful use case of how you can use generative AI to do something good for Singapore. And then people tend to say, oh, generative AI, we need to run it, it's expensive, we need cloud infrastructure, and we need money to go do this, or processing power to do that. So what Singapore has done is they've created a sandbox. They've created two sandbox, and one is for government applications, and the other is for everybody else. For Singapore, if you have local use cases of how generative AI can be used, Google has partnered with them and has given Google Cloud and set up a sandbox. That's what this is. This is an article on ZDNet talking about this. So you would find pre-trained generative AI models such as Palm, and there will be other open source options too, and you build out example, and when you say sandbox, this is something for developers. They typically have use this in developer network and play with it and build something out. It's not production. You can just say, can I do this and let me test this out, that kind of thing, right? It is not even a beta that you're putting out to the world, but you can try that, and they're giving this for free. And Singapore government is doing this. I believe it appears to be in partnership with Google Cloud, and you can use the generative AI model Palm and try it out. And this is what Singapore government is offering. So now the global South in AI call is anything like this, that you can use generative AI. So if you're in Singapore, or if you have friends in Singapore, please tell them about this. But if this is something that you can use in any country that you can think of, how generative AI can be used, what kind of applications can be used, then this is it. I'm going to get out of the share and see what is all this message I'm seeing, where I see whether you have questions or comments or what is going on in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of blinks. So the way I see this is when you're on YouTube, because I'm streaming this, you could actually go to bit.ly/Sudha Jamte playlist, and you'll see the archive of this from my YouTube. But on LinkedIn, when I stream this on Friday evenings, it actually pops up on my LinkedIn profile. So literally on linkedin.com/Sujante, you will see this. I'm actually going to take a screen grab of this so you can see what this looks like when I share it on the newsletter. So if you just follow me, it will pop up. And if you're seeing this, you can just add a comment, ask a questions, tag a friend. And if you don't do this right now, if you want to come back and do it later, that's okay too, because I will be coming back and sharing a bunch of these. I will be answering a bunch of your questions, and if you have interesting things saying I'm working in the space, here's an idea, I'll be sharing that. Okay, so we did our congratulations, we did our calls. I'm sure there's more calls which I've not showed you, but I'm going to add it. All Tech and Human is hosting the Responsible Tech Summit that they do that every year. I'm very excited because Patrick Ellen, who actually wrote Machine See, Machine Do. He's been a speaker at my Stanford class. He's actually one of the speakers. That's happening on September 14th. So I'm not listing all the conferences. The ones that had a call is the one that I actually showed you by a share. There is also another conference. I didn't know about this. This is called the Digital Humanities Association of South Africa, DASA, DHASA. So DHASA DASA 2023 is taking place also in South Africa in Eastern Cape Town in the Nelson Mandela University. So again, I will be sharing the events in the newsletter, all the different calls, look it up. That's a very good opportunity for you. I know a lot of my students who have been talking after my last Stanford class saying, how do I get into AI research? How do I come with ideas? So if you look at any of these calls, you might be able to do some of them today, or that will give you an idea, and you might be able to do something later. Look at those and see what are they asking for. Is that something you can do? And I would preferably suggest not to go and publish a paper alone. It's not fun. I find that more fun when you collaborate with other people. So find your colleagues, your classmates, or if it's related to Global South, come to our Slack group. You'll find collaborators. And I'm sure even All Tech is Human, many of these have their own Slack groups out there. Okay, so I want to switch gears to what I shared in the video this morning about what I'm focusing on. So it's not just that I'm just collecting a bunch of jobs and events and just want to give you a laundry list here. I am interested in three things. One is, I look at, as a technology futurist, I look at exponential technologies, and generative AI is the big thing now. And I like to demystify and explain the models using no code and simple English, right? That's what you see in my classes and the like. The second thing I like to do is to make sure that it has inclusion and diversity. So I'm focusing on language models. I want to make sure that all the different models, all the different applications, all the different segments of people who could be using it, various use cases, are inclusive. That's my work with Global South in AI. And I'm coming up with a bunch of courses at Business School of AI online. And previously we had courses on AI, on digital twins and autonomous vehicles. And now everybody wants more on generative AI. So what more can I give you? So we have a workshop that is going to come from Robert Schwenker. I've been pronouncing his name with the T. It's not silent. He just told me recently. So Robert Schwenker is an expert on prompt engineering, and he's done a study group with some of my students in the past. And he's coming to Weekly Bed 2 weeks from now, and he's going to do a webinar. And so we'll be sharing that again here. And that topic we're going to build out into a whole course on Business School of AI. So the third topic, I said I'm interested and I work on three things, right? One, I demystify the tech in simple English, not general tech on how it works, but actual models. I like to go into the nitty-gritty of tech and explain it and give you tools from no code AI. And you'll see that in my LinkedIn learning courses and the like, right? The second piece I told you was to do inclusion, and that is my AI research work, or the one with Global South in AI. The third piece is what I've been doing all my life, is trying to understand, okay, does this tech make sense? What is going to happen with it? How do you create value from it? If there is a technology and you build something out and it doesn't solve problems for people in such a way that it makes business sense, that it can scale, it's going to go away. You're not going to be able to scale it. So that's what you see in the tech ecosystems. You'll see, okay, here's the list of AI companies, here's the set of blockchain companies, here's the set of whatever, right? There's a lot of thousands and thousands of companies shown, they get funding, but not everybody makes it. And that's how you see the up and down wave of tech also. And so when I'm looking at generative AI, when I'm excited about any technology, I am betting on this is here to stay and is going to make some fundamental shift in us as humans, in how we live, how we help each other in various ways, and how do you create value. So a lot of my classes are about teaching the fundamentals of tech, but getting to teach you how to think about where is the value created, how can I create that value, and how is it commercialized in companies, and who does it benefit? So Global South in AI being a nonprofit, we are looking for application use cases of how that is done in Global South in AI languages and countries. There could be other commercial uses of generative AI that is being used everywhere. So that is the third piece that I'm looking at. Again, I like to demystify this for you on how do you go about doing this. So one of the things with generative AI is there is large volume of data that trains fundamental models. And after that, there's a concept called fine tuning, by which you take a small data set and you make that AI build into an application like ChatGPT, or you make it build a customer service app, or you make it do something. So all the machine translation that comes from one language to another is done using the same concept. So this Wednesday at Weekly Ved, we had a fantastic speaker. Um, let me share my screen again. Okay, you want to put that in full screen? Yes, I know I'm not sharing. Give me a minute, guys. Okay, I'm going to put that in theater mode because I do not want to show you scrolling set of ads and recommendations on my YouTube. Okay, so here's the recording from
how the discussion will proceed now is that I will elaborate on Bella's design, and then I will provide my commentary on how I think I can modify Bella and where does the relevance of Bella stand in the post chat GPT world, and how we can exploit GPT 3.5, the GPT behind chat GPT, to teach languages. All right. So Bella's design basically.
Okay, so this is a whole 1 hour presentation, so I cannot show you that. What I am going towards is this fun discussion we had. So this is Muskan Mahajan, and she's one of the authors who presented from Global South in AI. She presented this poster and she came and presented this at NeurIPS 2022. So I brought her to Weekly Ved to talk to us, to show us this Bella bot that she built for English language. English is Hindi language, but written using English script. And she has done this to teach English language to Hindi speaking students in India. And so she was talking to us about how she is going to take this forward with generative AI, how there are models that's available in open source community, and how she's tapped into that. And this whole concept of how do you do this fine tuning so that you can do machine translation and take this to multiple languages. And so we had a fun discussion. Can she take this and make it work for another Indian language, or can she take this and work for Spanish, and what are the challenges? And so that was, I think it was the beginning of something. So every time I have somebody smart like Muskan come talk to me, I learn something, then I get very excited about what I don't know or what I need to go experiment and figure out whether there is something that can be done. And typically, you know, I've built innovation organizations in companies and run meetups, which are innovation ecosystems. So that's the core of innovation. And I had somebody talk to me this week asking about Silicon Valley and innovation, and trying to take something that you're passionate about and going to build it and figuring out, okay, I know this aspect, I don't know this other aspect, what is it, and experimenting with it is what we do in Silicon Valley. So I got very excited about it. You can see it from my talk here. Okay, here, let me get Muskan back talking to us. Okay, the challenges, is there a community beyond open source to help each other in building machine translation for the local language for local applications?
So yes, I highly agree about Microsoft and Facebook introducing initiatives in India and other countries with low documented languages and helping them with their NLP stack set. However, there are open source players as well, Bloom being one of them. And Bloom is a natural language processing project which had several open source contributors, and it was famous for being able to interpret English, of course, but at the same time, Spanish, French, Hindi, Urdu, etc. Yes, it's a generative AI model which is again hosted on Hugging Face. So the day Bloom was released and I received a notification about it on my Twitter, I hurriedly rushed towards it and typed out my first query in Hindi. I believe asking it for a meaning of a word or maybe greeting it and asking it how it is in Hindi. And must I say, I was pretty content with the response I received. And this was around a year ago. And God knows the open source community has made such progress since then. However, what was kind of not disappointing, but I did get a reality check that beyond the generic questions I asked about the meaning of well known words or greetings, there wasn't much that the chatbot offered to me if we had to compare it to what it had offered to the English speakers. And I guess that only makes sense. Other languages, and Indic languages to be precise, had such a short share of the training data on which Bloom was trained on. So I believe that as the quality and the quantity of the data on which these models are being trained on increases, so would the quality of the responses.
So by open source contribution, are you and your fellow colleagues in the open source world, are you contributing data set to open source so that people can improve Bloom? So the developers or Bloom had very limited access to the local language data, and what they gave did not serve the use cases that you're looking at beyond basic greeting. So now when you build out something, does that data set go as training data to back to the open source community?
Oh, for sure it does. And when you ask this question, I think the quintessential data set that comes to my mind is the CHAI data set, CHAII, and that is the standard Hindi and Tamil question answering data set, which was hosted by Google and appended and added on to by various other open source members on data science platform called Kaggle. So yes, I am very optimistic that the data science community, open source, they are leaving no stone unturned in making data set available to us all.
Okay, that's fantastic. I'm going to I know we started a bit. I'm going to pause this because I just showed you a little snippet of this. This is available in the archive of Weekly Ved, and I am going to move forward to show you what is coming up in future Weekly Ved sessions because we are running out of time. So Parya has put together a beautiful poster to tell you about what are the other Weekly Ved sessions that's coming in the next week. So let me go back to my Zoom to share my screen again. Okay, so Sneha Jadhav usually hosts Weekly Ved, and Parya is going to actually do the interviewing of our next speaker this Wednesday. So for those of you who just follow me here on Sudha Live, are not familiar with Weekly Ved, I show you little snippets of it. Weekly Ved is our global speaker series hosted by my students, and we bring in speakers from around the globe and try to keep it as diverse as possible. And we try to get to the bottom. What I was telling you, I explain models in English, but and I like diversity, and I work on projects to bring inclusion and diversity. But how do I get to the bottom of what is creating value? What is the reality of how things are commercialized, how business models are evolving, and how things are productized? What's the secret sauce, and what are the challenges in industry? How are they being solved? And so we have a lot of people coming, talking to us and smartening us up on Wednesdays. And so this is what we have coming up. So we have Avantika Lal as our speaker. Parya is going to interview her on Wednesday. I already mentioned Robert Schwenker. He's going to be doing a webinar on prompt engineering. Again, we'll share the link. So if you want to proactively sign up, I think Robert's session will get filled up. We might not be able to take everybody. So we have a set of limited people that we invite to the Zoom. and then we stream it live. So you'll be able to watch the live stream. If you want to engage, he's going to do a live session, a hands-on session on prompt engineering. If you want to be participating in that, then you need to be in our Zoom link. Pariya sends out an email for Weekly Ved. I can again post the link. Yes, I'll share the link here and also in the Jamte newsletter. And so that those are our speakers coming up for the next couple weeks, and we'll tell you more as we go further along, but I just wanted to give you a taste of it. And our overall topic theme is on generative AI. So what are we going to learn about generative AI specifically? Since I said I'm very fascinated about this whole fine tuning and how is it done, so the very natural next step of what we're going to learn from Avantika Lal is what happens when in fine tuning in the machine learning world, and how is it done in the generative AI world, and not just general generative AI. I mean, everybody is talking about generative AI, so I'm kind of sensitive about bringing you something that is of value. So we are going to focus on generative AI and genomics, and how that comes together, and how fine tuning is done. And that is what Avantika is going to share, is going to talk to us and teach us about. Let me see if I can get the right window opened here. Where is that Avantika's window? Okay, it's a screen sharing as paused. Don't know why, so I'm going to stop that. So I was trying to show you a GitHub of Avantika's site to see what her work is about. I'm going to share that online. I think I have too many windows open on my Chrome, so it's not allowing me to share more windows here. So Avantika Lal is actually going to talk about generative AI and genomics. And we are going to go, and she's going to talk about a lot on machine learning and generative AI, and how she, builds applications, how she does data fine tuning. What I was talking to you about, the fine tuning aspect, right? How generative AI is built with a foundation model, and then you do fine tuning with your own small data set. And so I'm interested in learning how industry does that, because that's what enterprise does with their data set for various applications. So we're going to pivot into the world of biotech and genomics, and Avantika Lal is going to talk to us about that and teach us something on that topic at Weekly Ved next week. So with that, I want to wrap it up, and you can follow me on LinkedIn if you just want the live streams here. There is a Business School of AI link group on LinkedIn if you want to follow that for the live stream of Weekly Ved. But if you follow my YouTube, you should be able to get all of these also. You can see the past archive and everything. So we'll put all of these links back again at the Jamte newsletter. And for those of you, if I'm seeing here on LinkedIn, if you have questions, I will answer that. If you're sharing something that is of value, I'm happy to follow up and come and add a comment and stuff. Otherwise, I will make sure that every link that I'm talking about, some of them I'm going to post them here on LinkedIn, but everything will be out in the Jamte newsletter. And we're sending out the Jamte newsletter. I believe Pariya is sending it out on Monday evening my time, so it will be in your inbox on Tuesday if you're in Europe or Asia or Africa. Okay, so with that, I'm going to wrap up. I hope I'll see you all at Weekly Ved on Wednesday, or I will see you back here at Sudha Live next week. And I have a couple jobs. Yes, I do have some jobs that I was talking about, but I'm going to post that also on the Jamte newsletter. There is one interesting job about risk management and using machine learning, and it's a good job, I would say, like, not a very light job. I would say that involves good application of AI, a bunch of creativity, and the way that job description is written, I think is written very creatively. Maybe I'm excited about it because of that. So I'll be sharing those in the Jamte newsletter. I just don't want to be reading out list of jobs. Okay, so with that, I'm going to wrap up because it's 7 o'clock and I'm off into the weekend. And stay safe, have a wonderful weekend and happy rest of the week. And I'll see you all next week. Bye, everybody. I'm going to stop the share now.